Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Musical Memories. I'm your host Anthony Gamer, and in today's episode we will be continuing on with our unit on Lynyrd Skynyrd with their fourth album, Gimme Back My Bullets. A couple things set this album apart from all the other Skynyrd albums. One is that this was the first, and as far as I know, the only album to feature only two guitar players, as Ed King had left the band and the tour before this album was recorded. So only Alan Collins and Gary Rossington were the guitar players on this album, as Steve Gaines had not yet joined the band. It's also the first Skynyrd album to have more than 8 tracks on it. And this was the first album to feature the Honkettes, the female background singers that Skynyrd employed on their tours. Of course, the Honkettes were JoJo Billingsley, Cassie Gaines, and Leslie Hawkins. So this album was different than several of the other albums that came before it and came after it. Although, to be honest with you, even though the album didn't sell as well as the others, it is definitely an amazing album. This album was the second album to feature Barry Lee Harwood, who once again played mandolin and dobro for the band. This, of course, would not be the only time that Barry Lee Harwood would be associated with Lynyrd Skynyrd, as you will learn in some upcoming episodes. So without further ado, let's get into the album itself.
Alright, so the album was released February 2nd, 1976. It was recorded September 7th through the 9th and November 28th through the 30th, 1975. It was released on MCA Records. It was 34 minutes and 57 minutes in length and was produced by Tom Dowd. The two singles off the album were Double Trouble, which was released February 2nd, 1976, and Gimme Back My Bullets, released sometime in 1976 as well. Okay, the songs themselves. On side 1, we have Gimme Back My Bullets, written by Gary Rossington and Ronnie Van Zant, and clocking in at 3 minutes and 28 seconds. Track 2, Every Mother's Son, written by Alan Collins and Ronnie Van Zant, clocking in at 4 minutes and 56 seconds. Number 3, Trust, written by Alan Collins, Gary Rossington, and Ronnie Van Zant, clocking in at 4 minutes and 25 seconds. And number 4, I Got the Same Old Blues, written by J.J. Cale, at 4 minutes and 8 seconds. Alright, so let's flip the record over. First song is Double Trouble, written by Alan Collins and Ronnie Van Zant, and clocking in at 2 minutes and 49 seconds. Roll Gypsy Roll, written by Alan Collins, Gary Rossington, and Ronnie Van Zant, clocking in at 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Searching, written by Alan Collins and Ronnie Van Zant, at 3 minutes and 17 seconds. Cry for the Bad Man, at 4, written by Alan Collins, Gary Rossington, and Ronnie Van Zant, clocking in at 4 minutes and 48 seconds. And the final track, All I Can Do Is Write About It, by Alan Collins and Ronnie Van Zant, and clocking in at 4 minutes and 16 seconds. Alright, so let's discuss the tracks themselves. Gimme Back My Bullets from side 1. Track 1 has got to be one of my favorite Skynyrd tunes. A hard rockin' song, definitely, and one that in my personal experience, has been one that the band themselves really love to perform. I've seen videos of the original lineup, or the classic lineup, performing this song, and all the times that I've seen Skynyrd live, they have performed this. So again, it has to be one of their signature songs, and definitely was the correct song to choose as the single, much less as the title track, if that makes sense. Yeah, it does. I mean, name the album after this song. Okay. Alright, now track 2 is Every Mother's Son. I really enjoyed this one because it's got a really good meaning behind it, and that is that you can't take it with you when you go. He talks about how some friends of his have lots of money and pretty women and all kinds of stuff like that, but eventually everyone dies. And kind of, if you think about it in relation to what happened to Ronnie and the members of the band, it's actually quite sad. Next song is Trust. Now, this has to be one of my favorite songs on this album, as Ronnie really hits it home with this one when he talks about how you shouldn't trust people impeccably or should not love blindly because it's possible that just about anyone will stab you in the back. All right, and the last tune on side one is I Got the Same Old Blues. This is another one of their cover tunes that they slipped in every once in a while. Another J.J. Cale tune, and as you know, J.J. Cale was a heck of a singer and songwriter, and he's actually one of those people that's more famous for people covering his tunes, kind of like Tom Waits in a sort of way. And once again, a great track, perfect song to end the first side of the album. All right, we flip the record over and we start off with Double Trouble. This is another one of those tracks that Skynyrd loves to perform live. It also was the single off the album. Really cool song. It's one of those type of songs that I can explain this way. You listen to the song, and by the time the song is over, you're singing along with it. That's just probably the best way to describe it. It's a fun song to play. It's a fun song to, sing karaoke to, and it's just probably one of Skynyrd's best-known tracks. Okay, track number 2 is Roll Gypsy Roll. This is another song I've heard them perform live quite a few times. This is probably one of the more sad songs that Skynyrd has recorded. I kind of look at this song as almost like a sequel to Tuesday's Gone, as it's kind of in the same vein of that traveling or going somewhere to get away from something. Really good song, really sad song. Love the slide guitar. Of course, you kind of expect that when you see Gary Rossington's name as one of the co-writers. All right, next up we have Searching. This is a song that I performed with a couple of the bands that I've been in. Just another one of them catchy tunes of Skynyrd's, and one that's really a lot of fun to perform and sing along with, to be honest. All right, track 4 is Cry for the Bad Man. This is kind of the hidden gem on the album, as this is a real hard rocking song. Kind of brings back to mind the previous album, in which Skynyrd experimented more with a heavier, harder sound. This is kind of going a throwback to that album, although I can't really say throwback because it was the album that came out right before this one. But regardless, much edgier, harder song than most people are used to with the typical southern rock sound that Skynyrd is most known for. Like I said, this is definitely a hidden gem and a lost classic, if I've ever heard one. Now, the final track on this album has a real special place in my heart, and that is All I Can Do Is Write About It. This is one that I had performed with a couple of the bands I was in, particularly the one I was in with my cousin Richard, who is a huge Skynyrd fan, probably the biggest Skynyrd fan there is. Also a really good singer and songwriter in his own right. I sometimes think he actually channels Ronnie Van Zant. But anyway, this song is a great song, one of Ronnie's cautionary tales, where he talks about the environment and what it's like to grow up in the South and in the country. As being a country boy myself, I really can relate to a lot of the words in this song. And a lot of times it makes me sad and miss living in the country. I just hope someday I will be able to go back there.
As another interesting side note, if you buy the reissue version of this album on CD that came out in 2006, there were a lot of extra bonus tracks that were put on here, including several live versions of the songs featured on this album, such as Double Trouble, I Got the Same Old Blues, Give Me Back My Bullets, Cry for the Bad Man, and a really special acoustic version of All I Can Do Is Write About It, plus an outtake version of Double Trouble. So it is really worth it to get the reissue as well as the original itself. Well, that brings us to the end of another episode of Musical Memories. I really hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, you know what to do. Give me a big thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to click that little bell icon down there so you'll be notified when I upload new episodes.
In our next episode, we will discuss their live album, One More from the Road, continuing on with our unit on Lynyrd Skynyrd albums. This is also the first album in which Steve Gaines makes an appearance. So you will not want to miss that.
Don't forget, and for the foreseeable future, I will be live every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Central, so feel free to stop by and chat with me about whatever you'd like. Well, until next time, this has been Anthony Gamer. Take care of yourselves, stay healthy, stay inside unless you really have to, and take care of yourselves and your families. So I will see you all in the next episode and on Wednesday night. So until then, have yourself a great day. Goodbye.